Greetings, detectives. This is Michael with the Murder Mystery Company reading an audio summary of Death of a Gangster, classic 1920s speakeasy murder mystery. This summary is going to go over the details for each character and other important information you need to know to perform this delightfully twisted tale. So sit right back, relax, and let's get started. Death of a Gangster is set at a speakeasy in the 1920s, just before the wedding of Don Dunn Jr.'s sister, Brooks Ann Dunn, to the accountant Numbers with the Ivan Stoned crime family. This is a political move to unite the two families into a single criminal empire, and Brooks is certainly not fond of the idea. Numbers, the accountant, gets killed before he even enters the show, and that's where it all starts to go off the rails. Here's the smoking gun clue, the one clue that you must not ever mention directly to the public. It is the linchpin to the entire mystery. If you give it away, the gig is up, game over, so keep it to yourself. The smoking gun clue is that Get It Done had the opportunity to murder Numbers because Izzy came to her home and got drunk, and she stole his shoes and ring. Anita Drink. Anita was Don Dunn Sr.'s personal assistant until his bizarre death a few months ago. He never asked her to do anything illegal, but she is aware of his more questionable activities. She took care of everything for him and is now at a loss for what to do with her life. So now she takes care of Don Dunn Jr., even though she hates it. She's a member of the National Women's Alliance, along with Earl Grey and Get It Done. Important clues. Anita is not comfortable with the upcoming merger between the Dunn and Stone families, and got Ivan Stones to get her a gun, something Don Sr. never wanted her to have. She has some feelings for Earl Grey. She saw Earl Grey, Numbers, and Don Jr. the night they got together and decided to merge the Stone and Dunn families. The real reason she wanted a gun was to kill Don Dunn Jr. She cannot stand him. She decided not to go through with it when Ivan told her that it was being handled. She's not fond of Get It Done either, not since she invited Izzy Sleazy to a party she was at. She does know that Izzy is in financial trouble, and that he's hiding that fact from his backer, Ivan Stoned. It's even possible that Izzy was being hit up for hush money by Numbers. In the third act, when she's asked for clues, she will say, "After much thought, I've decided to pursue a relationship with Earl Grey. Yes, he was double-crossing Ivan Stone for his own financial gain, but he's still a good man and I can change him." The detective. This detective is most certainly on the take. They started out legit, but were quickly corrupted by the Dunn family. To serve and protect should be about alcohol anyways. It should be served liberally and protected from spillage. Important clues. Weasel is the detective's secret business partner. They've been running their own little bootlegging business for some time now, that would be D&W Hooch, and are turning quite a profit. If the Dunn family found out about this, both the detective and Weasel would be killed. The autopsy for Number comes through in Act 2. It was arsenic that killed Numbers, the kind that is frequently found in common rat poison. Earl Grey's been talking to the U.S. Treasury Department. He was a snitch on both the Dunn and Stone families, all because he was upset about the wedding. In the first act, the detective has a note for Don Dunn Jr. that he should give him when asked for. In Act 3, when prompted, he should reveal, "It's true. I'm partially responsible for D&W Hooch, the finest hooch in town. The D stands for detective and the W stands for weasel. If either of the families found out about this, we'd be dead for sure. So I'm hoping I'll get protection." Earl Grey. Earl Grey is handsome, rich, and well-connected with the Stone family. He is very used to getting what he wants. He is not a fan of the arranged marriage of Brooks Ann Dunn to Numbers. Even in these questionable social circles, this is not right. Important clues. As unfamiliar as it seems to him, Earl is starting to have real feelings for Anita Drink. He might even be in love. He's a member of the National Women's Alliance along with Anita Drink and Get It Done. Earl Grey, Numbers, and Don Jr. got together and decided to merge the Stoned and Dunn families. He has the same shoe size as the footprints found at the crime scene. Don Stoned gave Earl the task of uniting the families. Earl convinced Don Jr. to come to Numbers' house and bring the books, knowing that he would want the merge after he saw both of the families' books together. Earl did not know that the merger would be between Brooks and Numbers, assuming that Don Jr. would be marrying somebody else to seal the deal. It was this forced marriage that was the last straw that convinced him to go to the Treasury with the information. He is at heart a feminist, and it needed to be stopped. In a conversation with Little Willie, he found out that Willie hates Numbers and Don Jr. Not only did they stiff Willie's band, but they had Little Willie beat up. In Act 2, when prompted, Earl will say, "I set up the secret meeting with Don Jr. and Numbers. Don Jr. compared the family's books and realized he wanted to merge. mainly because the Stone family is doing so much better than the Dunn family. In the merger, everything will be split 50-50. In Act 3, when prompted, he will let everyone know that Little Willie hated Don Jr. Little Willie had been seeing Brooks, so Don Jr. sent Joey 2 hands to rough him up. If you ask me, Little Willie served Don Jr. a scoop of Vengeance ice cream. Extra cold. Getta Dunn. Getta Dunn is the widow of Don Dunn Sr., stepmother to Don Dunn Jr., and the mother of Brooks and Dunn. She'd enrolled her daughter in boarding school in Toronto, Canada since she was 3, and this is the first time she's seen her since then. Important clues. She missed her daughter very much. Had she realized that enrolling her in the boarding school would take her away for all of this time, she never would have agreed to it. She does realize that in the long run it may have been for the best, keeping her away from all of the criminal activity. As happy as she is to see her daughter, she loathes the fact that she has any part in this arranged marriage. Since 1862, Getta has been campaigning for women's rights. Although she does understand the merging of the 2 families, she's not comfortable with the Stone family funding Izzy Sleazy's smutty magazine, The Naked Ankle. It's an affront to her feminist sensibilities. She recognizes both the shoes that left the footprint and the ring. They're Izzy's shoes, and he sells those cheap gold rings. Getta was never in love with Don Sr. All the rumors about that are correct. She worked with Luna C on a job, and Luna is known for pulling off amazing fake identities. In Act 2, when prompted, she will say, "Many people here seem to think that my daughter's engagement ring is in that crime scene photo, but if you ask me, it's one of Izzy's cheap taffety rings. I'm saying this because Izzy Sleazy is the killer. At least that's what this old lady thinks." In Act 3, when confronted, she will volunteer that, "I'm ashamed to admit that it's been so long I did not recognize my own daughter. How dare you impersonate her, Lauren? Getting an old lady's hopes up like that should be a crime. In this crazy world, anything is possible, and if that's true, maybe the real killer is 8-year-old Polly Pocket." Ivan Stoned. Ivan Stoned is the Don of the Stoned Mafia Empire. He dislikes violence but is not afraid to use it as a tool. He fully supports the marriage of Brooks and Dunn to his accountant Numbers, as it will eliminate all the violence between the 2 families. Important clues. Ivan was charmed by Anita Drink into getting her a gun in exchange for information. That information was that Don Dunn Jr. is not terribly bright, and Anita can't stand him. Ivan told Anita that Don Jr. was being handled when she spoke to him about getting that gun. Earl Grey helped set up the merger between the families. Ivan's end game is to have Don Jr. rubbed out, and then to push Getta out of power and take full control himself. He hired Luna C., the famous hitwoman, to take out Don Jr., but he has no idea what she looks like or who she is. When asked for clues in the second act, Ivan will let everyone know that Numbers was a trusted confidant and a great accountant. He always went above and beyond. He was shaking down Izzy Sleazy every month, but I never found out why. I'm sure it was to protect my interests. In Act 3, when asked for clues, he should say, "It's true. I paid the infamous woman Luna C. to off Don Jr. I don't know if Luna killed Don Jr., but I know she could be disguised as any one of these suspects. I do know it was supposed to happen right after the wedding, but now it's worthless. I would have to negotiate a merger with the new head of the Dunn family." Izzy Sleazy. Izzy Sleazy is the area's most prolific smut peddler and owner of The Naked Ankle, featuring scandalous pictures of ankles, women in one-piece bathing suits, and ball gowns. The magazine appeals to all varieties of men and is reviled by the women's rights types as being exploitative. Important clues. Anita Drink, Getta Dunn, and Earl Grey have all participated in protests of this magazine. Izzy's magazine, The Naked Ankle, is funded in part by the Stoned family. Izzy's shoes match the footprints found at the crime scene. Izzy sells rings that are identical to the ones seen in the pictures. Numbers had threatened to reveal to Mr. Stone that Izzy was embezzling money from the magazine, and Izzy was paying him to keep quiet. Izzy is all about the merger of the families, as it will get the protesters from the Dunn family off of his back. Izzy wound up at a party at the Dunn house where he passed out and lost his clothes, so he had to borrow clothing from Don Jr. to get home. There is another bootlegging operation in town, and the W in D&W Hooch might stand for Weasel. When clues are brought up in Act 2, Izzy will say, "I want to toast the Dunn family. I recently attended a party to end all parties at the Dunn estate. All of the Dunn family members were there, and despite the fact that I was the only one of the Stone family, I felt at home. Also, sorry for passing out, losing most of my clothes and belongings, and anything else I may have done that I've forgotten about." In Act 3, when prompted for clues, they will say Don Ivan Stone wanted both mafia empires for himself. After the two families merged, he was going to have Don Jr. offed. Word on the streets that he hired Luna C., the famous European hitwoman and master of disguise. She could be here right now, and we wouldn't even know it. Joey Two Hands. Joey is not too bright, but he is very loyal to the Dunn Empire. He worked as an enforcer for Don Sr. and now Don Jr. It is his job to protect the Dunn family, and he does so without question. Mostly. Lately, he's not been too sure about his violent nature. Important clues. Joey received a pamphlet in the mail about a new concept, pacifism, and he is taking it to heart. Joey knows that there is someone here who is an informant for the Treasury Department. With Don Sr. and Jr. dead, he might now be in charge of the Dunn bootlegging ring. Joey beat up Little Willie once, and Little Willie swore revenge on Don Jr. for ordering the beating. In Act 3, when prompted, Joey will say, "I'm not too good with the eloquentness, but as a new pacifistical personage, I have to say that being the boss of the Dunn family is a dream come true. Under my tutelage, the Dunn family will be a non-violent mafia organization focusing primarily on bootleg and alcohol and concert t-shirts. However, I does know that Getta is excited about this marriage not happening." Little Willie. Little Willie is the piano player for the Banana Hammocks, and is as cool as they come. He's here tonight to play for the wedding of Brooks and Dunn to the accountant numbers. Important clues. Willie recently played at a party at the Dunn house. Izzy Sleazy was at the party and passed out cold in nothing but their underwear. Willie had a little fling with Brooks and Dunn at one point, but Don Jr. found out about it and had Joey Two Hands beat him up. Willie knows Brooks and Dunn. The person that says she is Brooks is definitely not Brooks. Willie has issues with both the Dunn and Stone families. Numbers once stiffed him money out for a gig, and Don Jr. and Joey beat him up. Willie sent Joey the pamphlet on pacifism in the hopes that he would read it and change his ways. Willie did in fact swear vengeance on Don Jr. In Act 2, when asked for clues, Willie will say, "That detective is more crooked than the devil's smile. My dad, Big Willie, used to say, if you can pay somebody to look the other way, you can pay them to do just about anything. Integrity is like an alibi. You either have it or you don't." In Act 3, when clues are being presented, Willie will say, "I have to come clean with you cats. I'm in love with Brooks, but she called it off. She wrote me one final letter. I always keep it on me. I'm going to read it now because it's going to freak you all out." And then they're going to read the letter that's in their binder. Polly Pocket / Luna C. Polly Pocket is an 8-year-old girl, precocious and sweet, dropped off by her parents at a notorious speakeasy. She seems to be able to take care of herself. That could be because she's actually the hitwoman Luna C., one of her clever disguises. Important clues. Once, Luna worked on a job with Getta Dunn, disguised as an 80-year-old woman. She's heard that there are a few men who think women do not have the equal rights they deserve. Earl Grey is one of them. She knows that Earl would not have helped with the merger of the two families if he'd known about the arranged marriage. As Luna C., she was hired by Ivan Stone to take out Don Jr. and clear his path into running both families, but to do it after the wedding. In Act 3, when clues are discussed, she will say, "I need to come clean. I'm not Polly Pocket, precocious 8-year-old girl. I am Luna C., a highly trained, vaguely European assassin. Ivan Stone hired me to kill Don Jr." Weasel. Weasel is a professional information broker, or as everyone calls him, a snitch. It's his job to get all the dirt on the bootlegging families and get it to the proper authorities. At a tidy profit, of course. Important clues. Weasel is secretly running a bootlegging operation, D&W Hooch, with the detective. A lot of people in the Dunn family do not want the merger to take place, especially Getta. Getta does not want her daughter married against her wishes. When the family merges, Joey Two Hands will lose his prestigious high-ranking enforcer position and will be demoted to just another hired goon. Anita Drink is worried about her position as well. Everything seems uncertain. Weasel is not the only one snitching. Earl Grey is reporting directly to the Treasury Department. In Act 2, when asked for clues, Weasel will present a flyer on pacifism that they found. In Act 3, he will volunteer that the families are pretty upset about my recent bootlegging activities with the detective, cutting into both of their territories and whatnot. But Earl Grey is the real rat here. Earl was secretly working with the Treasury Department as a snitch. One thing worse than snitching is murder, something that Anita Drink knows plenty about. And now for the end. Getta had not seen her own daughter for over 2 decades, and she did not realize that Law and Order was pretending to be Brooks until it was too late. What was her motive? Getta believes in women's rights and deeply loves her daughter. The fact that her daughter was forced to marry a man she'd never met was too much for her. She couldn't be the mother she wanted to be, but she could stop the wedding. The easiest way to do that was to poison numbers and to try and frame Izzy Sleazy for the crime. As a women's rights activist, she hated Izzy and the naked ankle, so he was the perfect patsy. After she killed Numbers, she assumed the wedding was off and Brooks was safe. But Don Jr. found another groom. She realized that he would keep doing this, so she had to kill him too. Some people will just do anything for their children. As for the opportunity, many people could have poisoned Numbers. However, if you look at the picture, there was a pearl in his hand. He likely lunged at Getta, breaking her necklace. She cleaned it up but missed the pearl in his hands. Men's shoes, but a pearl in Numbers' hand meant it was likely a woman framing a man. So it had to be a woman that was at the party. Remember Easy saying that he lost his clothes at the Dunn party? That's when the shoes were stolen and the cheap ring was taken in order to frame him for the murder of Numbers. That's how Getta got his shoes to leave footprints and his cheap ring to leave in the drink. For the murder of Don Jr., everyone had opportunity to poison the drink he had with him throughout the night, but she was the only person with the motive and opportunity to commit both murders. Thanks for listening to this audio summary for Death of a Gangster. We hope it has helped you get all the details, motivations, and characters firmly in mind for this exciting show. This has been Michael with the Murder Mystery Company. Knock 'em dead, detectives.